it's Jack here with Daddy, and today we have CPL Fever. But today, in this video, we are so happy that the Bundesliga is back, and we are going to be talking about how the Bundesliga is back, Germany cases of COVID-19, how they came back, the Bundesliga, when do we think Canadian Premier League is going to be back, and how do we think the Canadian Premier League is going to be back. So for this big topic and discussion, I have to have Daddy because I can't hold up a conversation with just me.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. But anyhow,
but I need two people to be.
The big news: Bundesliga is back, and that's exciting because the Bundesliga is a tight race. The top four, they have Bayern, Dortmund, and then
RP Leipzig.
Yeah, I can't even pronounce that.
Leipzig,
and then Gladbach, that are all right there on the top four.
Yeah.
Which is kind of disappointing for Bayern Munich because you'd figure they would be like way ahead, but they're not.
But it's not like League One where PSG are like always the winners. Like Bayern Munich is going to be most likely the winner, but Borussia Dortmund has always been on their tail. And RB Leipzig, Timo Werner,
Werner's a beast.
Yeah, Werner's a beast. Now he's getting up there. But if Haaland stays with Borussia Dortmund and RB Leipzig keep Werner and Bayern keep Lewandowski, it's going to be a really tight race for the Golden Boots.
It is, yeah. It's going to be exciting.
Now, how might not win this year?
And the crazy thing is, it's like with the Bundesliga, I mean, it's exciting because it's so tight.
Yeah, it's one of the tighter leagues. It's not like La Liga where...
right, but if you look at the spending in the Bundesliga, I mean, Bayern should be way ahead, but they're not. That's why their guy got sacked. Anyhow.
Yeah.
So anyhow, it's back. So Jack, how is it back? Like, what is going on? Are they going to play in a live stadium?
Well, they're going to be playing in empty stadiums now. I wish that fans would be there watching because soccer is really for the fans. But as long as soccer is going, it's just a huge improvement because so many people have been saying, "Oh, I can't wait for soccer," and even with the Canadian Premier League. Or any league, I just wish there was soccer. There has been at least one country that has never stopped playing soccer. Belarus.
Belarus.
I think there are three others.
They didn't stop at all, huh?
No, they didn't. Okay. I think there might be three others, but I'm not sure. But I know Belarus never stopped.
Yeah, so playing in an empty stadium is a little weird for players.
Yes,
I mean, I play without fans in my league, so I'm used to it. But I mean, and it's a strange experience on TV too, because I've seen a game that was played behind closed doors to punish, I think, one of the teams for racism. But one of the countries, like a national team for racism or something like that. And it was kind of strange because it's like the crowd noises is non-existent, so it is a little bit strange. But at this point, hey, anything, I'm so excited about anything.
Especially if for teams like RP, even any team in the Bundesliga or one of the top five or any league for that matter, because they are used to playing with lots of fans. But especially Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, and RP Leipzig, because they are like in the Champions League, and the Champions League is one of the biggest competition in the world, if not the biggest competition to Euro and World Cups. But still, it's one of the biggest. It's one of the biggest competitions in the world. They're one of the biggest teams in the world, and who knows, what that will do to players that really strive on the crowd's excitement. I'm sure they'll still be good because they're pro, but still, will they be able to perform like they have been performing?
I don't think performance is so much of an issue. I mean, because once you're in the game, you're in the game. You're like kind of focused. I mean, I guess it is a little weird.
Yeah, but the first three games might be a bit different because
sure.
Because it will be really
So
weird.
yeah,
for
so
them.
you mentioned Champions League. What's
Yeah.
going on with the Champions League? Because Euro 2020 is canceled, right? That's
Yeah.
done and dusted.
Unfortunately, because I love the Euros, I was really looking forward to seeing Spain in action.
I was really looking forward to the Euros too.
Especially Spain for me. But
So what's going on with the Champions League?
the Champions League is still being decided. But also I heard with the Bundesliga and possibly the Champions League, they're going to play in neutral grounds.
Right. So no home field advantage.
Yeah, no home field
I mean,
advantage.
obviously they don't have the crowd, so that's kind of the main thing about it. And then is it going to be a shortened season? Are they going to squeeze all the games in that they had scheduled, or are they going to cut some out?
I think that they are going to try and squeeze all of the games in. The Bundesliga will start on the 26th. If I'm
Right, that would
correct.
make it a lot tougher because
Yeah.
then they'd be playing 2 games a week instead of 1 game a week, which would affect recovery, would affect
Yeah, I'm not actually totally
training,
sure
so-
about that yet, but I think that's still yet to be decided. So maybe they won't play all of the games or not, but it's still to see.
Right. And one of the things about starting it is then they don't need to, worry so much about the ramifications of relegation and promotion because they can continue with that.
Yeah,
That's
but,
a big deal. Now that's not a deal in the CPL though.
Yeah, but in the Premier League, because they have so many little divisions, because they have 7 divisions, a lot of the lower divisions will be canceled because with no with no tickets, they're not going to be able to make enough money, especially since the TV doesn't pay at all.
Right. So that's a good segue to the CPL because we watched Sunderland Till I Die
Yes.
recently, and they had gone from the Premier League
All the way
down
to
to
League
the
3.
Championship, down to the third tier, which they call League One,
Yeah.
EFL League One. And one of the things about that show was like it talked about like the finances, how they
Yeah.
kind of had spent too much money on
And how they spent it poorly in the past.
right. And you mentioned not getting the revenues from TV because that's the thing about the coronavirus and the empty stadiums. Like probably these big teams like in the Bundesliga can get by because they're getting their star players, their players to take a pay cut, and
Yeah.
there's still going to be television rights. They're not going to be making money from the seats and the season tickets, and that's kind of a real botched thing. But for the lower leagues, that's how the revenue is generated. Not so
Yeah.
much on TV rights. So let's talk about the Canadian Premier League.
Yeah.
So the Canadian Premier League, I mean, unfortunately, they were kind of just about to get underway.
Yeah.
I feel bad for a lot of the players because basically they're like quarantined, in a different province or possibly a different country, and away from their families possibly. A lot of them are young, maybe they don't have families yet, but
Yeah, 'cause,
but still they're like kind of trapped with like a roommate,
Yeah.
and it must be a strange experience.
Yeah, because even if you think about Pacific, their team is super young, and and the Wanderers' average age is like 24, and that's still young. There are a lot of young new players in this league that weren't there last time, like Ryan Fraser. He came to the Canadian Premier League, but how? Because Ryan Fraser played in the Scottish Premier League, and even they have a decent amount of fans.
Right.
So it will be weird.
So when are
as
they?
well.
When are the Canadian Premier League? Like when are they going to get going? Because the problem is they've already had the players take, I believe, a 25% pay cut.
Now they're trying to. I think they're also trying to get the staff to get a pay cut as well.
Yeah, so they do that. The CPL also has applied for financial relief
From the government.
government, I think to the tune of $15 million. And for a fledgling league, this is like really a bad time for it to happen because it
'cause
was
this
just
is-
getting established. And I think the CPL in a lot of markets, particularly in Halifax, outperformed what people were expecting, which is great. You know what I mean? And then if it can grow from that, that's great. But I mean, this season, if they play the CPL behind closed doors, that's also a massive revenue loss for the clubs and the league because, what about those season tickets?
Yeah, and what if, and let's just say that the season doesn't start. Will those players still be there next year? Like players that may be very old, like 31, 32. Will they get another contract? Because that's a big question if the season doesn't start. I would like the season to start, hopefully in June at the latest, before my birthday, so I can watch soccer in the Canadian Premier League before my birthday, because it's in June. But that's a big question for older players that are in the Canadian Premier League or any league for that matter.
Right. Well, I think you had some stats on the COVID stuff. Is that kind of tapering off in all areas of Canada, or what's your take on how that's going, and when will we be able to start?
Well, I'm a bit worried about Ontario because Ontario has it has York 9 in that area. It has Forge in that area. It also has Atletico Ottawa in that area, and they're the second worst province. They're the second worst doing in COVID-19 cases.
Right, Quebec being the worst.
Yeah. So on May 7th, which is the newest day, May 7th for us. It may be a little bit later for when this video goes out, but for May 7th, it's 1,426 cases currently in Canada. The highest it has been was on May 3rd in 2,760. But the whole number altogether, some of them have recovered though, is 65,400. That's the confirmed. The recovered is 29,682, and deaths is 4,408. And if you look at Germany, they have a lot more than that. They have a lot more cases than that, and you have to start to wonder why can't I was looking at it, and just at first glance I was thinking, why can't Canada have a league? Because compared to that, it's a lot lower. But if you think about it, I heard that for every something like every 5 cases, there's a case of coronavirus, not COVID-19, not discovered yet. So, and of course, that's always going to happen. But also, Germany did not do too much testing as well. So, could that be a part of why Bundesliga is already going? Because they didn't do enough testing.
Well, it could be, and it could be the money, that they want to get it going, to kind of just go through it. I mean, it could be the fact that it is looking like a lot like elderly people are more at risk of fatalities. But one big problem, one big difference between Germany and Canada is, let's say decide that the players, this is what I've heard, drive themselves to their own games, right? Mm-hmm. You can do that in Germany because it's a relatively small country. Mm-hmm. When you're looking at Canada, going from Halifax all over to Vancouver Island, you can't drive that. You can't drive that yourself. So you're looking at flying. You're looking at increased risks for flying, which kind of is a problem. And even if the CPL does get started, it might be prudent for them to think, okay, well, it's not an ideal situation, but let's say Halifax travels to Ontario, and then they play all their games against Forge and York 9 all in a row, like back to back.
Yeah.
So they kind of batch it out like that. that would be the lowest risk. Obviously, it wouldn't be the most fun for the fans. It wouldn't be the most fun for the players, and
But
it's kind of weird, because as a league, the standings, get closer to the end. You want to have more control over the games that you have rather than necessarily like having a bunch against a certain team. But that might be the safest way to do things. And that's not a nice situation for certain clubs because, a lot of clubs are just going to feel hard done by if the schedule is reworked in that fashion. But I think it might be overall the smartest thing. So hopefully we can get the CPL, going soon. I mean, not we personally, but, hopefully the powers that be can do it in a safe way. Obviously, a lot of this is about risk mitigation. We're talking about COVID-19 is something you don't see. It stays around for a while. It's easily transmissible, and people are asymptomatic even after they've caught it. So it's this kind of very unseen thing. You can't really see where it's going. And so in a lot of cases, it's just about risk mitigation, risk management, and hopefully, a lot of these leagues will start opening up, and it won't cause other problems because no one wants to see that again. Yeah. So ultimately, I don't know when the CPL is opening up. I haven't heard anything. What about you?
No, but I'm almost positive that they are going to play behind closed. They are going to play behind closed doors. But my question is, because I'm a ball boy, so I want to know if I'm going to be in that closed doors, because the ball boy is an important role, but you can, it's not like a player or a staff or a coach or anything, because there are also kids and you don't want to put them at risk or anyone at risk. So will they just not put the ball boys in because it's not one of the most important roles? Like, it will help the team, it will help, but it's not worth it to just bring all 12 kids out there just to ball boy for
certainly there wouldn't
be
certainly there wouldn't be 12. Certainly they'd have less, or possibly they just have people that already are there doing things anyhow, related to the team, do it, or have the players kind of pick up the ball themselves, unless it goes over the fence, type of thing. So anyhow, that's all we know about the CPL. Hopefully it's coming back soon. We are looking forward to the Bundesliga starting.
Tell us down below who your favorite team is in the Bundesliga. And before we end this video, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, click the bell notification, check me out on JackMurrayTV, my Instagram, JackMurrayTV, spelled exactly the same way, JackMurrayTV, one word. So yeah, and don't forget to do the same thing with Daddy's. It's pretty much exactly the same, like his, well, not like it because it's my video, but go to his channel.
Like him.
No, but go to his channel, like one of his videos, subscribe to him, click the bell notification. He does a lot of fun videos, and
we will see you in the next video. Catch CPL Fever.